Fantasy Football Semi-Pro Podcast.
Oh, see it's up on YouTube. Or the Twitch.
Welcome again to another episode of the Fantasy Football Semi-Pro Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Brandon, and with me is my co-host, Ryan. Ryan, how are you today?
Oh, what's up? Hey, just living. Oh, there we are. Yeah, we're on the Twitch. We're going now. We're live.
Good news.
Yeah, I'm good. Hey, we decided to bust out some cool stuff. Here's some of my old collectibles. This takes me back to the day I had to glue this Shane Graham bobblehead
yes.
back on. But these were he was a kicker. Hey, these were like Burger King specials. You went to Burger King and ordered a certain meal, and you got like one of these things each time you went. It's pretty cool. I got some cool Bengals memorabilia out. Hey, we're trying to what I call it, flare it up a little bit. We're trying to
add pieces of flair.
We need our flair, and the bigger we get, the more flair we'll have. So here we go.
All right, so today we're going to break down the NFC division or conference. But first, before we start doing that,
All right, what do you got for me?
we got a couple keep trade cuts. So
I'm gonna giggle at that every single time.
I know you are.
Blank, marry, kill.
So the first one, these are three wide receivers that are going in about the same range.
Okay.
You got Chris Godwin,
Okay.
Cooper Kupp, or Robert Woods. And we're not doing a strip show here, Coons.
I got hot. Got a shirt on. I'm gonna keep Godwin. I'm gonna trade Woods. I'm gonna drop Cup.
Okay.
There's really no rhyme or reason. It's just preference. I don't know how much I like them and how much they've done for me in the past, whether I've ever owned them or not. But that would be lying.
This is definitely a tough one.
Yeah,
both are two good wide receiver rooms.
Yeah.
Kupp and Woods, they're always back and forth year in and year out. Godwin, he's good.
he gets points.
He can play, and even hurt last year, he performed for you.
Right, yeah, especially me.
I think for this, I like the high floor of Robert Woods. So I'm thinking I'm keeping Woods.
Cutting Cup.
Yes, I'm going to cut Kupp, and I'm going to trade Godwin, because I think Godwin has quite a bit of trade value there, too.
Well, I can see it, but I'm still keeping Godwin.
It wouldn't be surprising me on no matter how these players will rank at the end of the year, though.
That's fair.
All right, so the next one, this is actually going to be a multi-position one.
Uh-oh.
Still, once again, players are going in the same range. You got Adam Thielen, Darrell Henderson, and Mark Andrews. Wide receiver, running back, tight end.
Cut. I'm going to go in a different order. I'm going to cut Henderson, trade Mark Andrews. Who's the other guy?
Thielen.
Keep Adam Thielen. That guy usually produces pretty solidly year in, year out.
He is, but you got to start wondering at his age, when's that drop coming?
I don't know.
He has
Julio Jones.
True, but Julio is an outlier on that. Thielen, I think we started to see a drop a little bit last year. He just had a high touchdown rate, and touchdowns are fluky. You can't rely on those.
Right.
I think I would keep Andrews, trade Henderson, because his values jumped really high, and cut Thielen. So before we get into our NFC breakdown, just to remind you guys, follow us on our social medias. Twitter, we got FF Semi-Pros. Facebook, Fantasy Football Semi-Pros. Instagram, Fantasy Football Semi-Pros with underscores in between each word.
I don't think you need them. You just need to space it.
I can't remember.
No,
and
you'll find it.
YouTube, FF Semi-Pros.
Yeah, that makes it pretty simple.
On top of being live, we are going to try to post this on YouTube after we're done tonight. So be on the lookout there. Once again, thank you guys for your support.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it.
Ask questions for us in chat. I've got it open up here right now, trying to watch. Ask us questions on these posts. eventually we do want this to be interactive.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right, so we're going to start with the NFC East. Ryan, do you remember who won the NFC East last year?
I don't even know who's in the NFC East. Oh, the football team.
Yep, Washington football team.
I had to think about that. That was the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles.
Yep, next year we'll be forgetting what this team's called because they're going to change their new name again.
Oh, man. What are they going to be? The red
I don't think it's
team?
I don't think they've announced it what it's going to be yet.
The maroon team.
So at quarterback, you got Ryan Fitzpatrick, Taylor Heineke, and Kyle Allen.
Fitzmagic's the only one you need.
Definitely. 2 quarterback league, you're taking him. He's going to be your second QB, I think.
Maybe Heineke in case of injury.
That's the one thing that worries about me with Fitzpatrick is he almost never has completed a year. There's always going to QB come in and take him for him.
When he was in Buffalo, he did.
Lately. I mean, Jameis Winston overtook him. Tua overtook him. Well, actually, Jameis Winston was back and forth.
That was about 9 years ago. The good days.
Next, we got running backs. Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, Peyton Barber, Jarrett Patterson. Gibson, I'm high on Gibson. I have him in a couple dynasty leagues.
A lot of people are.
I think the guy who used to coach CMC basically said he's like McCaffrey.
But he's smaller.
He ran well. Other than turf toe last year, he didn't really get hurt.
I guess you got a point, but...
And they're going to start working him in the passing game this year. I think his stock's going to rise.
I like McKissick's PPR value, but, I mean, how many reps is the guy going to get out there?
Well, and that's what they're saying. And Gibson's going to start taking more of the passing work.
Yeah, so McKissick's kind of
He's starting to get to that point where...
Pick him up, stash him on your bench in a deep bench. But
Peyton Barber, you're not touching him.
And I love Patterson, man. When he was at Buffalo, the kid only played 3 years at Buffalo and holds the record for rushing yards by about 800, I think it is.
He had a heck of a year last year.
Even in a shortened season, he had over 1,000 yards, and he's a great athlete. I just don't know if he'll ever get a shot because he's a little undersized.
I think if Gibson goes down, he might get his shot, but I think he caught 2 career passes at Buffalo.
Yeah, they didn't need him to catch passes. But hand the ball off. He played in the MAC. He just ran through and over and around everybody.
With running backs, it's in college, it's hard to say. You can't really judge how good they are at catching passes. Can they do it or can they not?
I mean, I think we saw with Najee Harris in the championship game where he went out there and caught a few passes here and there and scored a couple touchdowns. But before that, Najee never maybe had 10 receptions before that.
Jonathan Taylor was another one. And look what he did last year.
It's all about...
He had Rivers, that king of dump-offs.
You mean you can't showcase a skill that your offensive coordinator at one level or one team isn't willing to showcase. So,
all right. Moving on to receivers. You got Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Adam Humphries, Daimi Brown, Steve Sims, Antonio Gandy-Golden, Cam Sims. Honestly, this is a top-heavy receiver room to me. Mm-hmm. McLaurin and Samuels are probably the 2 guys to look for here, especially McLaurin. I wouldn't be disappointed if I came out and he was my number 1 receiver on my team.
No, and I think a lot of people share that same sentiment. I mean, he's got great upside and great talent.
So, in last year, like, he hasn't put the other full season yet. That's the only thing that scares me.
Right, he's injury prone.
But injury prone, yeah. He was last year down the stretch, he was playing with a sprained ankle. His quarterbacks, Dwayne Haskins, Alex Smith, Kyle Allen.
Tyler Heineke.
I think that was only for the playoffs.
It was just the playoffs, but...
McLaurin finished with the 15th most receptions and the 11th most yards. Playing injured and with those quarterbacks.
It's not terrible. I mean, high ceiling. I think he has a high floor.
He has a high ceiling as well.
But when are we going to see it? I still think Samuel is the one that, man, he's the one you go after maybe earlier than what you want to.
Samuel's going very late in drafts.
I know.
I don't even know if he was dropped in our keeper league.
No, he's picked up off of waivers, and that really...
But right now, I'm out on Samuels.
Really?
He's coming back from an injury. He just had COVID. He's going to be slow to start off, and
I like that Fitzmagic guy they got at quarterback. That guy spreads the ball pretty well. So
and he has a connection with Humphreys already.
Right.
So Humphreys could start eating into these values.
Thought about picking him up in a couple leagues.
Daimi Brown can fly.
Yeah, he's in Central Michigan, maybe.
I can't remember where.
One of those little MAC schools.
But he's a guy to keep an eye on, especially in deeper leagues.
In a return game.
Potentially, if your league does that, yes. Tight ends, Logan Thomas, I don't think you need to talk about after this.
Nah.
Thomas was the third best tight end last year. He was a great waiver wire pickup for me last year and really helped me produce.
I don't know. I don't have him, and I don't want him.
He just got a nice extension from them.
All right.
He was a converted quarterback, so he's starting to hit his stride out as a tight end. I think Logan Thomas is one of those good mid to low range tight ends that you can get.
Yeah, well, if you're not getting the Kelseys, of course, or the Waller.
Yep, or Kittle.
Kittle. How did I forget Kittle? We're moving on to Dallas?
Yep, we'll move on to Dallas. So Dallas.
Oh, I love this one.
Quarterbacks, you got Dak, Gilbert, DiNucci. Last year, before his injury, did you know Dak was on pace to throw for over 7,000 yards?
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. But their defense was so bad, he had to.
And they improved it a little bit, but I don't think it's been that well improved.
I think this is going to be a high-powered offense again. I mean, you're basically bringing back everybody that they had on that offense, including, was it Jarwin that got hurt?
Blake Jarwin, yep.
Yeah, he got hurt pretty early, and he was looking good before the injury.
Yeah, I mean, it was only preseason, though, so it's hard to say, but he was on a lot of people's sleeper boards.
Yeah, I mean, one of those guys, Jarwin or Schultz, got hurt in the early on in the season. The regular season had started. Cause
it might have been first week then. I can't remember.
First couple weeks, I don't know, but that offense, if you can get any of these guys, I would say Dak, Zeke, Pollard is a handcuff.
Well, we'll get to the running backs in a minute.
But Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup?
We'll get to those in a minute.
Man, come on.
Can you believe, though, Dak only played 4.5 games.
Right.
He had
I know that.
as many touchdowns as Daniel Jones.
We were watching that game where he broke his ankle. That was disgusting.
He had as many touchdowns as Daniel Jones did last year.
In 4.5 games?
And I think Jones missed 2 games. He had more touchdowns than Darnold, who missed, I think, 3.
Sam Darnold.
I think Darnold's going to be a decent quarterback. Not necessarily fantasy-wise. I think he's going to be better for NFL this year, but
yeah, I mean, Dak.
We'll get to him later.
Dak was off to probably one of the greatest starts in NFL history we will ever see. So can they do it again this year?
Running backs, you have Zeke, Pollard, Rico Dowdy. Zeke, he's rising on my board quite a bit. I drafted him at number 6 over like Saquon, Taylor, Chubb. And honestly,
with Dak back, he's a better running back.
Definitely. And actually, this is what I was going to point out with that. Weeks 1 through 5, when he had Dak, he averaged 22.3 points per game, 107.4 yards per game, 1.2 touchdowns, 4.8 receptions. I think his lowest scoring game was a 17.8 with Dak.
It's still not terrible.
Week 6... And actually, sorry, I missed one. 4.8 red zone touches with Dak as well.
Okay.
Weeks 6 through 7, 11.2 points per game average, 78 yards, 0.2 touchdowns per game, and 2.7 red zone carries.
You misread it. It's week 6 through 17, not week 6 through 7.
I thought I said 17. Sorry.
Nah, I thought I heard 7, but it's all good. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be a good running back without decent quarterback play.
Without a passing game, which even though they still had a passing game, but... I mean, Lamb and Cooper still produced last year.
They did all right, yeah. They didn't do as good as they could have.
They were 15 and 22 respectively.
I mean...
Which takes us to the wide receivers.
You just have to throw every time they're out there. Throw every down for 3 downs, and then maybe get a first down in there. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have wide receivers that produce, but...
Well, that takes us to our wide receivers. Yeah, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. Honestly, I'd be willing to draft any one of these 3 guys.
Yeah, I got Lamb in, the 5th round?
I don't know, you snaked me.
5-1, I believe. I got CeeDee Lamb. I couldn't believe he was still there, and with Dak coming back, I thought, what in the world?
I do think he starts overtaking the number 1 spot on this
So do
team.
I, but I still think Gallup and Cooper are still pretty pretty tight and pretty solid wide receiver twos
Definitely.
and threes.
And Gallup, you could probably pick up off your waiver wire.
Yeah, I think he's out there.
At least in 10-team redraft.
Right.
Now, thing is, I wouldn't be counting on Gallup for next year. I think this is the last year of his contract, and they won't have the money to re-sign him. As much as they're paying Cooper,
No.
as much as they're paying Dak.
Cooper.
Or not, yeah, they signed Cooper to a big deal last year.
Oh, I
5-year deal.
didn't realize that. My bad.
And then tight ends, we've already kind of touched on these. Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz. People were high on Jarwin last year. I was as well. I was buying into that hype. This year, I think they're going to ease him in. And I think Schultz is going to be used more than he would have been. Because I think he kind of proved he can do it. I'm avoiding these tight ends.
Yeah, for right now, just to see how it plays out, I wouldn't put too much stock in them.
I will say Jarwin didn't play in the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, well.
All right, so then we got our New York Giants. Get this. So last week, first day of padded practice on 11-11, Corey Clement got popped.
Reds just homered. Yeah.
Evan Ingram went to defend his guy. Got hit in the back by Logan Ryan. The whole team got into a fight.
Okay.
Daniel Jones ended up on the bottom of the pile. Something you do not want your quarterback to do.
No, you don't really want a quarterback in a scuffle.
Well, after this, Joe Judge was so angry, he made them run 100-yard wind sprints and push-ups for 15 minutes, and then ended the practice.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's a winning program with that head coach there. So
I don't know. Well, they have solid pieces there.
they have good talent. I'm looking at the what is supposedly their ones and twos and possibly threes here, but they got talent. I mean,
It's just
Danny
a matter of putting it
Dimes
together. And last year, I think they had the worst offensive line, and they didn't do much to improve it.
well, I think
Quarterbacks.
I think
We'll start.
Danny Dimes can stay healthy again, even with one of the worst lines. He's probably still banged up week to week.
Yeah.
If he can get some time, he has the potential to be a really good quarterback.
Well, you got to think that this is a bad offensive line, and they're not having a running game to kind of protect them last year.
I think missing Saquon,
Barkley's going to open up a lot more for him.
Hopefully, if you're a Giants fan.
So we got Daniel Jones, Mike Glennon at quarterback. Redraft, you're not touching either of these guys.
Nah, they'll be later.
Jones was not a very good quarterback last year.
Not fantasy wise.
Even real life wise.
Well, they didn't have Saquon. You know your whole offense is the quarterback. It's really easy not to worry about the run. Right?
Running backs, you got Saquon Barkley, Devin Booker, Corey Clement, Alvin Morris. They're saying Barkley might be ready for week 1. Barkley's even said this from the beginning. He's not sure. He's going to listen to his body and let that kind of tell him.
He was still drafted in the first round of our draft.
And rightfully so. He has that talent where if you get him and he does come out, he can be the league winner.
If he stays healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's spent the last couple years hurt.
Last year he tore his ACL. Those will tend to be a little bit more fluky.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that he had a high ankle sprain and missed 3 games, I think it was.
3 or 4.
And he came back and was a solid producer.
Right. I mean, it's a high ankle sprain.
Yep. But from here, it was looking like Booker was going to be the backup running back there. There's a lot of buzz around Corey Clement right now. Alfred Morris, you're just not even paying attention to him.
No, that's if you can get him off of waivers because Barkley gets hurt and the rest of the backfield gets hurt.
I will say I have Barkley in one of my dynasty leagues. As soon as this year, because I made the mistake before not cuffing him with Goldman, I scooped up Booker as soon as I saw he was the backup.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receivers, you got Kenny Golladay, who's already out for 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring injury.
Mm-hmm. But that shouldn't roll into week 1.
But this is the hamstring injuries that they can linger.
Yep, you're right.
And Golladay has a history of this. I'm probably not drafting Golladay, and we saw how far he dropped in our draft.
I think I got him in round 13 or 14.
He dropped far.
13-1 or 14-10 or something.
If he's on the field, he's a heck of a talent.
Yeah, a couple years ago when he was healthy, he did really well for me.
But I will say this Giants offense from camp is they're having issues gelling. Golladay and Jones are not on the same page at all.
Well, Galladay's not even on the field.
Well, when he was, before the hamstring injury. Then you got Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Kadarius Toney, the rookie they drafted, and as us Bengals fans really know, John
Ross, who played 4 games in his entire 5 years with the Cincinnati Bengals.
He's already hurt, too.
Oh, well, who would have thought? Who would have thought it?
What I was seeing, it was a possible hamstring injury.
Oh, that makes sense. The kid never played more than 2 games.
Everybody questioned that draft pick or that first round, I think 8th overall pick.
Yeah, I did too.
And his first year, he had one touch for a fumble and
-5 yards.
That wasn't seeing the field and got hurt again, and yeah.
What a bust.
I think if you're drafting a wide receiver here, though, it's Galladay, but even then, I'm probably avoiding.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from everybody here except for maybe Barkley. Even the tight ends here, Ingram and Rudolph.
I'd be willing to take a shot on Ingram.
Not me. No, never again.
If I'm going
Ever again, no Ingram.
The thing is, Ingram, he gets so many targets, and that's the key to being
There's
the tight end.
no time to throw, so they have to check down to the tight end.
Yeah, and that could open up a lot for Ingram. That's what I'm saying. He could be a decent late-round pick for you.
Look, I gave him enough chances and opportunities last year with all the tight ends gone and thought, oh, okay, well, I'll trade away the second round for him.
I will say, he is, I think, a free agent after this year. He had one good year, his rookie year.
Well, maybe he goes somewhere that will...
We've seen it with tight ends. The change of scenery works. Jared Cook. Ebron, after he left Detroit, he had a year and a half good years. Actually, I heard somebody mention he could be a trade target for the Bengals.
Let's just wait and see how Thaddeus Moss works out, and C.J. Zuma and Drew Sample, the guys they went out and drafted.
Well, they didn't draft Moss.
Well, they got him off of waivers because Washington football
Free
team.
agents.
Yeah, they got rid of him.
All right, so then we'll move to the last NFC East team, Philadelphia.
Oh, God, look at this. The NFL and the MLB needs to do something. The best 6 teams need to go. I don't care about division champions. That's stupid.
You gotta have the divisions.
Teams. The best 6 go.
You gotta have your division winners going.
Why?
Especially because you're not playing everybody in the league.
It doesn't matter. You got teams that make the playoffs that are 8-8 or
I understand
7-9, and they get freaking crushed.
That's fine. We've also seen a team with a losing record win their first game.
Yeah, and it's stupid. It's a slap to the face to the players.
I think this is, but we're going to digress on that because that doesn't involve fantasy at all. So, QB-wise, you got Jalen Hurts, Joe Flacco, Nate Mullins. Hurts, a lot of people are drafting him high just because he has that high ceiling with his legs. Personally, I don't think Hurts is that good. I think they could replace him next year.
Look, when Hurts was at Alabama, I loved watching him play. I loved watching him do his thing. As a true freshman, won a national championship at Alabama. And even when he went to Oklahoma, I didn't wish anything bad on him. I just don't see him being the answer in Philadelphia at the QB1 position.
I agree. I think he's more of a career backup.
Especially fantasy-wise, I think.
And I will say a lot of them, what I've been reading about this, ever since the pads have gone on, he's really struggled. Running back-wise, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Kerryon Johnson, Kenneth Gainwell, and actually somebody I forgot to put on here, Jordan Howard. This running back room is tight, murky. They're saying Sanders is now becoming more of a running guy. Scott's going to take the pass-catching kind of role. I've heard Gainwell kind of talked about being a Nyheim Hines type player for this
offense.
I'm not touching these guys, especially with Hurts at running or quarterback. As we mentioned, running quarterbacks do vulture quite a bit of touchdowns, and Hurts could do that to them.
Yeah, and, I would say the same thing about the wide receiver room here.
Wide receivers, yeah, you got Deontay Smith, Jalen Reagor, Travis Fulgham, Greg Ward. The only one I'm considering drafting here in redraft is Smith.
I think I got him pretty late in our draft.
I think you drafted him,
12 or something like that.
Personally, I'm avoiding him because he's hurt and he's missing valuable time with quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, well, he played with Hurts at Alabama.
Fair.
They have that chemistry already. It's like riding a bike, man.
Tight ends, you got Goddard and Ertz. One positive I have heard about Hurts is he's able to find his tight ends. Which these are two big guys.
And I guess Goddard's the favorite, so we'll see how that plays out. I mean, Ertz's getting pretty old.
Coons, do you see that picture I posted on our show doc?
Yeah,
that's Zach Ertz.
That's ugly.
He's like 30 years old and he's got the
Eminem hair.
Yeah, Eminem hair.
Beach blonde dyed hair. Ugh.
I think he might be having a midlife crisis.
Well, yeah.
So, who's your pick to win the AFC East?
Oh, if Dak stays healthy, it's gotta be the damn Cowboys. What?
Nothing. So yeah,
as much as I hate the Cowboys,
it's not that.
What did I miss? Did I miss a pun?
You keep dropping. You drop the F-bomb.
The dang Cowboys. Oh, no.
Sorry, guys. We're trying to get eventually in the habit of not cussing so we can eventually monetize this when we get a following.
He's not trying. I'm trying.
I don't have to try.
Exactly.
So I'm a professional.
I am not.
But no, I agree with you. If Dak stays healthy, I definitely do think it's the Cowboys. If not, I think Washington has a very solid chance to...
Product placement.
I think Washington has a very solid chance to win this with Fitzpatrick out there, quarterback, and the defense they have.
That's fair.
All right, so next we'll move to the NFC North. So we'll start with the Packers. The Packers recently just got that wonderful news where they got Rodgers back. Not overthinking this. You're grabbing Rodgers if you can.
I got him at 12-1, dude.
It wasn't 12-1.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was like 5th or 6th or 7th round.
I don't know. You might be right. 7-1 maybe?
That sounds closer to right.
I don't know.
Because if he was at 12, I would have taken him.
Yeah, I got Rodgers pretty late. I think I filled up my 2 running back slots, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. So, yeah, that'd be 6-10 or 7-1. Either way, it doesn't really matter.
But I will say, I don't think his draft ADP has caught up to him.
No.
You can definitely get him late. He was the second best quarterback last year. And
go down. Draft results.
He was the second best quarterback last year, and he definitely could potentially repeat that and become MVP for this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got Devontae Adams.
And you got Rodgers in the 7th.
7-1. That was close. 5 rounds.
All right, so we'll move on. Running backs, you got Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Kylan Hill. Aaron Jones is actually already dealing with a little bit of injuries, but he's someone that I think is going to be a league winner. He's definitely slept on, and especially now that Rodgers is back. His ADP hasn't caught up to him either. I think more often than not, you can get him in the 2nd round. I will say I'm willing to take a late shot on Dillon because I think Dillon's going to have a role as well.
Yeah, possibly 3rd down. He's a little bigger.
Not 3rd down because he's more of a running guy.
Goal line.
Goal line and Jamal Williams was a very serviceable running back last year for them too. Plus, when it gets cold and snowy, that's when Dillon's going to shine.
Yeah, because he's big. He just runs the damn ball right between.
And then you got Kylan Hill, rookie.
South Carolina.
I don't remember where, but you're not drafting him in redraft.
No, you're not drafting him at all, even in a dynasty league, I don't think.
Wide receivers.
Devontae Adams. Alan Lazard.
Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Randall Cobb, Amari Rodgers, Equiminius St. Brown. Really, the only one I'm taking a shot on in redraft is Adams. I have heard that Cobb's taking like a jump up, especially since he's now catching passes again from Rodgers. But
I'm gonna say if Cobb's there late, like double digits round, 10th round on, you can.
He's definitely a decent flyer.
You're still gonna. I would assume and hope that by the 10th round you have your 2 wide receivers, your wide receiver 1 and 2, maybe as a. See how it goes. Flex option.
Bench player that you can just see how it is. Yeah.
We know how Cobb and Rodgers worked together in the past. That's great. We've seen Valdez-Scantling go down the sideline as well as Lazard.
Yeah.
There's so
Valdez-Scantling is going to be the deep guy. Cobb's going to be the slot guy.
Right. There's so many weapons here, and Adams is guaranteed you almost a touchdown every freaking game.
Actually, with that over his last 26 games,
he's probably
scored
had 25 touchdowns.
28.
28. So
he scored more than one touchdown a game.
Yeah, I mean, and the dude's a PPR guy. I mean,
the only knock I have against drafting Adams first overall is he always at least misses a couple games each year.
Well, what player almost doesn't?
Tight ends, you got Robert Tonyan, Mercedes Lewis. Tonyan was the 4th best tight end last year, but he had a lot of touchdowns. If you're going late tight end, though, you want to chase that touchdown upside.
Yeah.
And who better to get those from than Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, and I have Rodgers. I think somebody drafted Tonyan pretty late in our draft anyway, before it got back to me. But I didn't even go 2 tight ends. I just went 1. I figured, I'll just worry about that. The bye week that
no matter how,
injury
no matter where I draft my tight end, I'm only drafting 1 typically.
Yeah, I know. Same with the
I can stream that later on.
Yeah, I look
quarterbacks.
at this,
I usually do that, but I am taking a shot on Lance if he does start.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got 4 or 5. Maybe 6 really solid wide receivers here. As you quoted in our first podcast, I don't think there's enough footballs to go around.
There is, because they're all going to go to Adams.
I just think this tight end room, tight ends, man, dime a dozen. You really got to.
After the first 4, yeah.
I just don't think you take him before the 10th.
No. You don't have to.
Not. Maybe pick him up off of waivers, but I would steer clear of Mercedes Lewis for.
Oh yeah, I just put his name on there because it's just depth chart. So then we'll move on to Minnesota. You got your quarterbacks: Kirk Cousins, Kellen Mond.
Don't draft either one of them.
Actually, Cousins was the 11th best quarterback last year. 2 quarterback league.
In a 2 quarterback league.
Or if you're waiting on quarterback and you've got those people that will take 2 quarterbacks still. He is a solid quarterback to have. I actually got him in one of my dynasty leagues, and I don't regret it. It was a trade where I needed a running back. I had to trade away Baker, and I got a running back in Cousins. I can't remember who I got running back wise. I don't regret that trade one bit.
Well, that's fair.
Running backs: Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison, Amir Abdullah. Cook's got that potential to be the number 1 overall running back. You know where he's going, but he always misses at least 2 games a year.
Which where Madison's handcuff comes
Madison,
into play.
If you take Cook, or even if you don't take Cook, not a bad idea to draft Madison at the end of your draft.
I mean, what was that tandem I had a couple years ago? Was it Kamara and
Ingram? But that's a different type of running back situation. They both were relevant.
And I played them both in my roster every week.
Wide receivers: Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Chad Beebe, Amar Smith-Marset, and D.D. Westbrook. Jefferson and Thielen were wide receivers 6 and 10 last year on the season.
I'm telling you, I think these two, they're good.
I will say is Minnesota's defense gets better though. I think they don't want to throw it. We know Zimmer.
Well, yeah,
he wants to
he's a
ground and pound.
defensive-minded coach, so yeah.
So you could start seeing some targets being taken away. I think Jefferson is the one note in here. Thielen, definitely a good, decent third receiver to have.
I think whoever has Thielen is not going to be disappointed wherever they take him. I just wouldn't go with him as my first wide receiver taken.
I wouldn't be comfortable with my first or second. I'd be fine if he was my third.
I'd be okay with the second.
Tight ends, you got Irv Smith Jr., Tyler Conklin. A lot of people are projecting that Irv Smith breakout now that Rudolph's gone.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I liked Smith Jr. Irv Smith Jr. when he's at Alabama. I mean,
it's definitely possible, but I remember hearing a quote from Zimmer saying that Conklin's going to be more involved than people expect.
Well, I mean, Smith is just a bigger wide receiver. The guy runs routes pretty flawlessly and pretty effortlessly. He's just got a fluidity to him that makes him look like a gazelle out there, and he's going to beat coverage most of the time.
He definitely, I think, could be a very good red zone threat, just like Thielen.
I don't think he's utilized as to the full potential.
Well, they had Rudolph. They weren't going to until now.
Yeah, well, I guess we will see.
Now we're going to talk about Chicago. Quarterbacks, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. Did you see Andy Dalton with his red beard?
No, but
I saw a picture saying this is Andrew Dalton, not Andy Dalton.
I'm so glad he's out of Cincinnati. I will say that.
You know my views on that. I think he's a solid professional quarterback. I think he was serviceable. Alone, he's not going to take you to the Super Bowl, but you have to have the pieces around him.
that's to say with any quarterback, but at the same time, he had weapons his entire.
I agree.
I would say 90% of his career in Cincinnati, he had the weapons there. He just couldn't win it.
The Bengals were also choke artists overall.
The closest the Bengals ever got to winning a Super Bowl during
is with A.J. McCarron.
Was with A.J. McCarron starting the playoff game where Jeremy Hill fumbled and Vontaze Burfict committed 2 personal foul penalties to basically give the Pittsburgh Steelers a game. Field goal.
Yes, I know.
But
right now, actually, they're saying Dalton's going to be the starter week 1. It's not a contest.
Still avoid him. There's 31 other better quarterbacks out there. Avoid Dalton.
Yeah, but Fields, they're basically saying he could take over this job at some point. I would draft him late and consider.
I just admitted that Cam Newton is better than Andy Dalton. So therefore, Cam Newton's not my worst quarterback out there.
Your Dalton hate is over the top.
That's not true.
Running backs, David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, Damian Williams. I actually do think Montgomery has a huge boost so far this year because once Cohen went down, that's when he started to play really well. And Cohen's not coming back from this injury well.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't mind Montgomery being my second and third running back here.
Yeah.
Cohen, Williams, I'm not touching either.
I like Tariq Cohen's. If you're in a deep super flex league, he might be a plug and play depending on the quarterback play. But yeah, I think David Montgomery's the only one that's worth having here.
Wide receivers, I can't think of his first name now. Allen Robinson.
Yes.
Darnell Mooney, Damiere Byrd, Marquise Goodwin. The sad thing is, as much as you hate Dalton, this might be the best quarterback he's played with, or that Robinson has played with.
Well, yeah.
Blake Bortles, Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles. You gotta feel bad for Robinson, and he produces these mediocre quarterbacks.
His talent's been wasted in years past. Well, you can't say wasted, but they haven't been fully tapped. I think he's gonna have a really good year.
Definitely. Mooney, definitely a late round shot in redraft. Other than that, I'm not touching Bird or Godwin.
No, not right now.
Tight ends, Cole Kmet, Jimmy Graham, Jesse James. I really like Cole Kmet. I think he could start to break out. Now, I know year 3 is typically the year for tight ends, but towards the end of the year, Kmet started taking this job from Graham.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a younger guy. He's definitely close to his prime, and Graham's over his prime. And Jesse James, he's kind of been just a...
He's been in Pittsburgh, and he's just kind of been a background guy.
Yeah, he hasn't really done anything to make me think otherwise. But yeah, I think Kmet's the only tight end.
The thing I really like about Kmet now, he was a 2-sport athlete in college. He played baseball and football.
Yes.
Last year was the first year that he was actually able to fully focus on football.
I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I think he's got the skills there. And there's a lot of hype around him, and there's a lot of love for him. Mm-hmm. That's warranted, but... We know Dalton.
I'm willing to take. Dalton's had success with tight ends.
I mean, Jermaine Gresham. Yeah, that was one of them. I mean, Dalton's going to like his 2 guys. And if Kmet's one of those 2 guys,
yeah,
that's it.
We'll go ahead and move on to Detroit here. Dan Campbell, the coach of the Detroit Lions, he said the Lions have no turds on their roster.
Oh, that's not true. They have David Blau.
David Blau's not a turd. We appreciate Blau.
He beat Ohio State University 3 years ago. No, I love David Blau. Don't get me wrong.
So quarterbacks, you got Jared Goff, Tim Boyle, and David Blau. Unfortunately, he's actually the 3rd listed on the depth chart.
Yeah, I mean, he always has been.
Yeah.
I mean, he was behind Driscoll a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Got the start.
I'm avoiding Goff here. I'm not drafting Goff.
Yeah, I can.
I have him as my 3rd, possibly 4th quarterback on my Superflex team. I tried to trade him, and there was a guy who only had 1 quarterback in Superflex, and he would not trade for Goff.
Do you blame him?
Yes. I mean, Goff is still better than not having a second quarterback.
I guess. I mean, that's why it's a Superflex. You can play.
Well, not only that, he's taking a week without points for
that's true. Position. I guess that's true. Fair enough.
Running backs.
Maybe they're tanking for whoever it is next year.
Oh, man, I can't think of his name now.
It's not Tua. It's
No.
not Trevor. Does it start with a T?
It doesn't start with T, I don't think.
Okay, well, let's move on.
I can't remember the big draft names for next year, but we'll focus more on that after the season.
Yep.
We'll watch some video. We'll try to give you guys some breakdown of who we see.
I love watching college football.
Not only that, like we'll watch just that player play in the videos in the off season.
Right.
Running backs: DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, Jamar Jefferson. Swift has actually missed some significant practice time with a groin injury.
Jamal Williams was really good last year with Green Bay.
Yep, and he definitely can still take that kind of role. I think there's room for both of these running backs to be productive. I will say I drafted Swift as my third running back in our league.
Mm-hmm.
You saw today I picked up Jamal Williams after that news came out.
Not a bad thing, but I also think Jamar Jefferson.
I wasn't as high on Jamar Jefferson coming out of Oregon State.
I'm not high on him, but he beat the crap out of USC.
He has had some games in college, and they already do like him in Detroit.
He's a speedster, man. He's like a little water spider out there.
Wide receivers, we got Tyrell Williams, Brashad Perriman, Quintez Cephas, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I saw a video yesterday of Amon-Ra. Huh?
Can I rank these two?
Well, we'll give it a minute.
Okay.
I saw a video yesterday of Amon-Ra just straight up hurdled one of the receivers, or DBs that was trying to tackle him. I think he's got some upside. And definitely somebody I want on one of my rosters somewhere.
If I'm picking any of these wide receivers that I have on my roster, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hands down. Tyrell Williams has a huge, high ceiling.
But he's always hurt.
He can't stay healthy.
I will say I'm probably not drafting any of these guys in redraft. But
no, Amon-Ra's still out there.
I do know I took Amon-Ra in the startup dynasty this year.
I mean, who do I drop for Amon-Ra St. Brown?
In our league?
Yeah. How many roster spots are we allowed to have? Are we still keeping the 15 or what?
Oh, in our keeper or dynasty league?
No, the league we just started.
Oh yeah, we're keeping the roster spots the way they are.
15?
That's how we've always done that.
I drop somebody. I just don't want to drop Phillip Lindsay because I think he's going to do well in Houston.
But other than that, I'd take a late flyer on Brown. I think he's actually the cousin of Ecomenius.
Yeah, he is.
Playing each other in the division.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I'm probably not touching this wide receiver room. Tight ends, you got TJ Hawkinson and Darren Fells. Unfortunately, I know you drafted Hawkinson. Apparently, he got hurt today. I haven't seen much information, but he left and was getting looked at by trainers.
I don't put a whole lot of weight into the injury reports right now because it's like these writers and these fans are so ready for football to be back that god dang, a wide receiver could bite his thumbnail too short and miss a practice because it hurts. Yeah, they're gonna write about anything and they just want headlines, they want views because nobody's read their articles for freaking 6 months.
Well, not only that, it's mostly just Twitter that everybody's looking after that.
Yeah, and it's like you're not.
But it's something to keep an eye on. See what happens. I know it's still early, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Play the damn game. You're gonna get bumps and bruises and pulled hammies and all this other stuff.
I'm not saying that though. It's just something to keep an eye on for Hawkinson to see if he's
something to keep an eye on. Don't you put this evil on me.
I'm not trying to put the evil. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're putting
watch
evil.
the situation. So who's your pick to win the AFC North?
Packers.
Easy, yeah, especially now that Rodgers is back.
I think that's a consensus. If Rodgers wasn't there, I would say Minnesota probably has a really good shot at it. But
Chicago's not out of it though. They have one heck of a defense.
Yeah, but man.
But yeah, I agree. With Rodgers there, it's definitely Packers. All right, so we'll move on to the NFC South. So we'll start with the New Orleans Saints. Unfortunately, our favorite quarterback, Drew Brees, retired this year.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So that's leaving the Saints with a QB battle of Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston.
I don't like how Sean Payton is just on his knees for Taysom Hill. The dude is not a quarterback. Oops, sorry, microphone.
He's no different than a Jalen Hurts or
exactly
any other running quarterback.
And he beat an injured team last year and got a W.
He won 3 of his 4 starts.
They were against like the Eagles.
Well, the Eagles is the one he lost. The other ones were actually decent teams, if I recall.
I think one was like the 49ers who didn't have a quarterback. Probably I can't remember. Who knows?
Honestly, though, if I didn't get Lance at the end of the draft, Hill was somebody I was considering taking and stashing.
Just because of
he is that cheat code quarterback that can take a lot of goal line work.
Yeah, I suppose.
Honestly, though, I'm not sure who I want to win this battle.
I think Winston's better for the wide receivers.
I do too, but we've also seen Hill make some nice throws in the past.
Yeah.
Realistically, whoever's named, if neither are drafted, that can definitely be a very good waiver wire pickup.
Later on.
Right at the start of the season, once you know who's taking this job, that could be a quarterback one.
I guess.
I mean, look what Winston did in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, even with his 3 interceptions a game, he was still probably top 10 points-wise.
Yeah, he was still up there. I mean, in the end, touchdowns count more than interceptions.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so running backs, you got Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray, Devonta Freeman. Honestly, Kamara's one of those guys that if you say you're taking him at number 1, I don't have an argument against it.
I took Kamara 1.1. I took him first over on the draft, and everybody gave me crap and said, you didn't take CMC, you didn't take
Actually, your
so-and-so.
cousin's the only one I think that gave you crap.
I got some more messages, and I was like, but it's Alvin Kamara. The dude didn't have... I don't sit there. I'm kind of like the Joe Morgan of fantasy football. Joe Morgan was a second baseman for the Cincinnati Reds, and then he went on to do broadcasting stuff. He was completely against analytics, and I look at it this way. Alvin Kamara's points didn't drop off. I'm not going to look at touches per game and receptions per game.
They did drop off with Taysom. I remember because I was starting.
When Drew Brees was there or not, but it's like the point differential wasn't enough to be like, oh, there's another running back out there that's better. No, because
that's the thing, though. If you look
there wasn't any running backs out there.
Not last year because CMC was hurt, but the year before, CMC was both the best wide receiver and running back. And if you just split him as the wide receiver and running back.
And that's fine. There's a whole new coaching staff there.
Fair. But you saw they wanted to use him that way last year.
And that's great. But
I'm saying, I'm not arguing with you. You can make a case for Kamara, and I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Right. I'm just sticking to my guns here.
Latavius Murray, I think he's a must grab if you are a Kamara owner. And even if you're not, he could have some standalone flex value for you. Mm-hmm. They've done it before.
Handcuff him.
They've done it with Mark Ingram and Kamara.
Yep.
It's just they're two different styles, and Murray's better between the tackles. Kamara's just great at breaking away.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, Deontay Harris, Marquez Callaway, Chris Hogan, who just left his career from rugby to come back to the NFL, and Ty Montgomery, who was a former running back as of last year. Did you see what Mike Thomas tweeted out yesterday?
No.
Mike Thomas, they tried to damage your reputation. You saved theirs by not telling your side of the story. Thing is, it wasn't that he was catching crap for. It's because he tweeted out in Comic Sans. This is leading more and more to being believed, though, that Thomas isn't going to be on this team next year.
And that's fine. I think Drew Brees being gone, the only real value Mike Thomas is Mike Thomas. It didn't matter who was at quarterback last year. If Mike Thomas was in, he produced points.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever hear the story about when he was at college? He used to tell the DBs what route he was running.
Just to see if they could catch or cover him.
See if they could stop him. Now, he said he hasn't tried that in the NFL because...
Well.
But still. I mean, Ohio State, you're still seeing some of the best DB talent against you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Other than this, I mean, Callaway's definitely a good late-round flyer. They've said he's been the biggest standout in camp so far.
Mm-hmm. I
definitely... If you're looking for the number one on a team, Callaway's, I think, going to be the guy to grab here right now.
At this point in time, yes. That's a nice card.
All right, so after that, we got Minnesota. All right, sorry.
We didn't cover tight ends. Really, the only tight end for the Saints
Troutman.
is Troutman, yeah.
And he's definitely one of those guys you can grab late. I've been grabbing him anywhere I could in Dynasty because I do think he could start breaking out. After that, we got Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They returned all 22 starters from their Super Bowl winning team. I think that's the first time in the Super Bowl era.
It's going to be hard to repeat. Have we had a repeat?
Not lately, but if there's a team that can do it, I think it is the Bucs.
Yeah, you're quite possibly. I thought the Chiefs were going to do it last year, and we saw how that went.
Yep.
Untimely
we got
injuries.
Tom Brady at quarterback, Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask. Brady was the 7th best quarterback last year, and he had no running upside.
Sorry, I'm getting a lot of Rondell Moore cards in this break. Sorry, everybody. I'm paying attention.
Brady has no running upside. He does it all on his arm. He's definitely one of those late-round quarterbacks that I'm wanting to look at.
Yeah, but for dynasty value for the future, I think Kyle Trask.
Guy.
What? No, Kyle Trask.
Oh, yeah. Kyle Trask is definitely
good dynasty.
Someone decent to learn from.
Yeah, he's right behind Tom Brady, and Tom Brady has what, a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 more years left.
I don't count him out. Him and his TB12 diet.
Nope.
Avocado ice cream and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Running backs, you got Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Giovanni Bernard, Keyshawn Vaughn. Personally, I'm not drafting any of these guys.
I think Rojo's the clear number one there.
But we saw what Fournette did in the last year and in
the playoffs. Yeah, I think Fournette might work himself back into the RB1 situation like he had in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think last year it was so back and forth between Jones and Fournette, and I think Jones is wanting to be on that field this year. It's a contract year for him.
Yeah, Fournette.
I think there's too much there that I'm not taking a shot on these guys.
It's hard because a lot of teams are going, running back by committee, and it's really hard when you're fielding a fantasy team because there are no there are very few Adrian Petersons left. There's not really a number one for each team.
Yeah. Wide receivers: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Steve Miller, Tyler Johnson, Jalen Darden.
I will say if
I'm
Mike
drafting
Evans,
those first three: Evans, Godwin, Brown. But I want to hear you rank these guys.
I like Evans' size, touchdown machine. I like Godwin's speed. He's a yards after catch kind of guy. And Antonio Brown just finds the end zone. You know what I mean?
Antonio Brown, from their short time together in New England,
I think he
has such a crazy chemistry with
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady. Can you believe, though, Mike Evans has been in the league for 7 years. I think he's had over 1,000 yards receiving each year.
Yeah, Mike Evans.
Yeah.
I believe it.
But at times, he seemed like he's frustrating to own.
Yeah, it is. I had him last year. It was pretty... one game he had 2 catches, 2 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and I just didn't know what to do with myself. I said, okay, that's 14.2 points, but it didn't lose me a game, but it didn't win me the game.
Honestly, I'm willing to take a shot in any of those first 3, especially Brown late.
I think Tyler Johnson might be a good dynasty option.
Yeah, he's definitely him and Jalen Darden. A lot of people were high on Darden out of North Texas.
Yeah, I'm not saying play him right now, but I'm saying...
Yeah, I'm saying dynasty stash.
Stash him, see how it goes.
Tight ends, Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate. Gronk was hit or miss last year, but that's any tight end.
Yeah, he really came on in the playoffs.
He did. I think if you're drafting one of these tight ends, it's Gronk, but I'm generally avoiding this room.
Yeah, I still like O.J. Howard. I like those Alabama. I like the Alabama tight ends, man. They do really well there, and I just don't think their talents. Ooh, that's a pretty card. I don't think their talents are tapped, so to speak, when they get to the NFL.
Next, we'll move on to Carolina. They just recently traded for Sam Darnold. They have P.J. Walker, Will Grier.
Sweet.
Probably not drafting any of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm staying away from these. Just, Sam Darnold has to prove himself.
I have a request for you.
Okay.
Please stop singing. They might shut us down.
No. I will not.
Maybe one day, if we ever get big, I'll post your video of you singing Whitney Houston to Rock Band.
I challenge you. I triple dog dare you to post that video.
I'll wait till we start getting more followers.
He acts like I'm going to be ashamed.
I never said you're going to be ashamed, but it's bad.
It is music to your ears, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not a combination of Fergie and Jesus.
It is, so.
Running backs, you got CMC, Hubbard. If I'm drafting CMC, I'm grabbing Hubbard as a handcuff.
Yeah, for now.
We saw what Mike Davis could do in this offense, and
yep.
I think Hubbard might have a shot to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receivers,
wow.
Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, David Moore, Terrence Marshall Jr. If anybody offers you a trade, be careful. it's gonna in sleeper. I know it'll say D Moore. Make sure you click on that. Make sure you're getting DJ Moore, not David Moore. I have heard people trying to make that bait and switch.
That's pretty sleazebally.
But I mean, Anderson and DJ Moore, they're both top 24 receivers last year.
But again, man, new offense.
Well, same offense as last year. It's just a new quarterback.
Well, new quarterback, but we'll see.
I'm willing to go with either one of these guys, especially Anderson, who's being drafted later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to go with any of these guys as my 2 or 3.
No, you're right.
Tight ends, you're probably avoiding this room. You got Dan Arnold, who just came from Arizona, and Ian Thomas. You're probably avoiding this.
Yeah.
Circle back to the wide receivers real quick. Terrence Marshall Jr. is taking that Curtis Samuel role last year, and they are saying that they want to force feed him targets.
That's good. He's got good size.
And he's been reunited with his old offensive coordinator, Joe Brady.
Yep.
We'll move on to Atlanta from here. You got Matt Ryan and his backup, A.J. McCarron. McCarron's been all over the place in this league now.
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't think he ever got his shot. I think he was a good pro-style quarterback.
We've had this discussion, too. I mean, I think he's a solid backup. I think he's a good career solid backup.
He could have been the next Ryan Fitzmagic, but
potentially. He's still got time.
He's still got 10 years. 10 years to go.
Running backs, Mike Davis, Quadri Olson, Cordell Patterson, Javian Hawkins.
I think the only one really we're taking is Mike Davis.
Mike Davis, yes, but he's also that guy I can see potentially being one that can lose his starting spot this year.
To who, Allison?
Allison, they're very high on in camp right now. But I'm just saying, if there's one guy that drops out, Davis was good for the first half of the year when CMC went out. The second half, Davis really fell off.
Yeah, I was kind of eyeballing him in our draft, and he went a little bit higher than I would have wanted to take him. So, kind of glad I didn't get him.
Wide receivers, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, Olamide Zacchaeus. All I'm drafting here is Calvin Ridley, and I'm willing to take him as my number 1 overall receiver.
I did take him as my number 1 receiver.
I mean, I think he has a legitimate shot of being the best receiver this year.
I took him at 3-1. And
I know, but I'm saying, like, in my rankings, I would not mind putting him first.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think he has that upside, especially.
And I hope you're right.
I do too. I'm in a dynasty league. Tight ends, Kyle Pitts, Hayden Hurst.
Think we can see some 2 tight end sets there?
Not necessarily 2 tight end sets, but I think they will both be on the field.
So
I think Kyle Pitts is going to be more like split out a little bit, and you can see Hurst on the field. I do think Hurst may still have some value.
I just wouldn't play them both at the same time.
I probably wouldn't play them both, and I'd wait to see. I'd play Pitts to start off with, but I'm probably not drafting Pitts. He's probably going higher than I'd like. But I'm just saying Hurst, I do think may have some value.
Yeah, I took Hurst as the second overall pick in a dynasty league. But I mean, I was solid everywhere else. The only place I was hurting was tight end. So why not take the best tight end out there?
I mean, the best option at that time.
Well,
Hurst.
Yeah.
He wasn't the best
Pitts.
Oh, Pitts. You said Hurst.
No, sorry. Excuse me. I took Kyle Pitts with the 1-2.
You were hurting a quarterback in that 1-2. It surprised me that you didn't go quarterback. But we had talked and you had a plan.
I had a plan. I ended up getting Fitzpatrick and I have a couple first-round draft picks next year, so who cares?
Yep.
After winning the league, I got 2 draft picks.
That takes care of the NFC South. Who's your pick to win the South?
Buccaneers.
I agree. I don't see anybody taking the crown from Tom Brady this year, at least in that division. We'll move on to the NFC West. I think this is the last division.
Yeah,
I actually tied the AFC. I didn't change it. So we'll start with Seattle. You got Russell Wilson, Geno Smith at quarterback. I'm not touching Russell Wilson. He was last year he's been too inconsistent the last 2 years.
The only real value I see with him is he's mobile.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually use his legs as much as
But his first half of the season was what carried him this year or last year.
Right. And
running backs, you got Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, Travis Homer, DJ Dallas. I think I drafted Carson as my second running back in our league. this is an offense. Pete Carroll said, we have to run the ball better.
Yeah.
Not even run the ball better, run it more.
I think those first two there, Carson and Penny, are both solid.
Penny's
solid
always hurt.
picks. Yeah, maybe he can stay healthy. I mean, he didn't play a whole lot last season. And
Well, he was hurt last
right,
year.
I know. So maybe he had time to heal. I don't know.
He's been hurt every year. I mean, I'm saying he does have talent. I agree with you. But I think the running back to take here is Chris Carson.
And then maybe DJ Dallas off of waivers.
DJ's, I'm not even sure about that anymore.
All right, whatever.
I
We'll
stashed
just
him. Stashed him as a taxi, but I don't have faith in him taking over that spot.
Agree to disagree.
Wide receivers, you got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jeff Swain, Dwayne Eskridge.
Watch out for that Eskridge kid.
He could be good, yes.
He's fast.
But realistically, I'm out on this wide receiver core. I know a lot of people are high on Metcalf. I had him last year in a Dynasty League, and
it just didn't seem like he got enough.
It's all or nothing. And actually, a lot of people are high on him. I'm looking at him more as a wide receiver, too. I saw out there, Lockett was out targeting Metcalf last year. He just got a 4-year, $69 million contract. Metcalf had 3 weeks last year where he held under 30 yards, and 2 others where he's held under 50 yards. Those are the weeks, if you're taking a wide receiver that early, those can kill you.
Yeah, he's got to do it week in and week out.
He's got to be more consistent.
Right.
The other thing with him, his first 8 games, they were great. I remember having him, and I was just ecstatic. He was a wide receiver 2 overall. His last 8, 37.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm glad I don't ever invest in him.
Yeah, I traded him away for, I need quarterback and running back help in that league. I'm not going to regret it. I'm not going to look back on that one.
Don't regret it.
Tight ends, Gerald Everett, Will Dissly. A lot of people are high on Everett here. I'm probably avoiding the tight ends.
Yeah, I'm really avoiding this entire offense, really, except for Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I have zero stock in this team whatsoever.
Next, we got the Los Angeles Rams. You got Matt Stafford at QB with Wofford backing him up. Stafford's another one of those great late-round guys that you can draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was taken at like 12.
He was taken after I took Ryan Tannehill still, I think.
Yeah, so the 13th round?
Yeah.
Or later.
Running backs, you got Darrell Henderson, Xavier Jones, James Funk. I just kind of want to see Funk to win this job eventually. We want the Funk.
No.
Nah, that aside, bad jokes. Darrell Henderson, where he's going in your draft, I think it's about rightfully placed. His injury risk is baked into his ADP.
Yeah, I wouldn't take a running back from this team. I think all of your running backs are over in the AFC. But you really,
except
really
for Kamara
want.
and Cook.
Yeah.
And McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah, you're right. My bad.
Still, yeah, I'm probably avoiding this running back room still.
But, I mean, the running backs are so thin.
Henderson could return some value. It always feels like he's hurt in the 2 years he's been in the league. Wide receivers, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Deshaun Jackson, Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell. I think Kupp and Woods are the only 2 you're drafting. You can make an argument for which one first. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to argue against you on that. Deshaun Jackson, he's a good best ball receiver. He's that all or nothing Ricky Bobby style wide receiver. He gets a couple big plays or he's hurt.
Right.
Tyler Higbee, Bryce Hopkins, Jacob Harris at tight end. I'm definitely willing to take Higbee as my my tight end late.
I mean, if that's your...
Stafford's always had decent rapport with his tight ends. And
he loved Hawkinson there in Detroit.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah, you're right.
We'll move on to Arizona. You got Kyler Murray, Colt McCoy. Kyler Murray, I will say you had him last year and you complained quite a bit.
I had him in both leagues.
When he's running, he's well.
Yes.
But as small as he is, I don't know how much longer he can keep up that running game.
I don't think they're going to keep... They really want to get him out of the pocket due to his height, but they don't want him using his legs as much. But, I mean, we watched a bunch of games last year on Murray when they said if he has 60+ plus more rushing or 60 or more rushing yards in a game, they win.
Yeah.
They were like 10-0.
But you also run the risk of him getting hurt, especially with his smaller frame.
Yeah, but at the same time,
we saw him throw, and there was just days where he just looked off, multiple days.
And then there were some times where he couldn't miss. He could put the ball on a dime 60 yards downfield.
I think I still have him ranked as in the top 3 for quarterbacks, but if I have Dynasty, I'm probably trying to cash in high on him right now.
Yeah, at this point, I know he got taken pretty early in our draft, and I ended up with Aaron Rodgers. It's a redraft league. I'm not going to lose sleep over not having Murray this year, but I think if he's there in the 5th round, you can.
Real quick, we do have a message on our Twitch from Golden Glover 1. Yes, what's up, boys? How we doing? We're good. We're just talking about football.
Can't complain. Yeah, I'm talking about football. I did not have to work more than 9 hours a day, so got a couple hours to relax before filming this, so not too shabby. How are you? What was his name?
Golden Glover.
Golden Glover, how are you, man? Let us know.
Yep, let us know, and we're glad you jumped on and are watching.
Heck yeah. I did better that time. I didn't cuss.
Yep, you're getting there. I noticed it. You miss it. Running backs, you got Chase Edmonds, James Conner, Eno Benjamin, Ito Smith. I'm avoiding this room.
Yeah, these running backs, I just think there's going to be more because Murray may or may not run the ball. These are some good wide receivers.
Yep. So we'll go ahead and move on to the receivers.
Because we're not going to talk about them.
You got DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, Andy Isabella. Do you know Rondale Moore at Purdue? What was it? 78% of his targets were within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they didn't have enough time for him to run down the field.
Yeah. Arizona's definitely changing that. There's a lot of stuff coming out of camp where he's going deep. He's burning guys.
I mean, he's probably the fastest guy we've ever seen play at Purdue.
Yeah.
I mean, hands down, the dude.
He can fly.
Easily by himself beat Ohio State 42-20 or whatever it was.
Did you hear what
49-22.
Did you hear what DeAndre Hopkins said about A.J. Green?
No.
To be honest, I probably haven't played with anyone of his caliber. That's some glowing recommendations on Green. Now, he did go out to say, because he did play with Larry Fitzgerald and Andre Johnson.
Yeah.
He's like, the other 2 Hall of Famers I played with, I would say they were at the end of their careers. They taught me a lot, but here's the kicker. I feel A.J. Green is in his prime. I love A.J. Green. I wish he was still with the Bengals just because I really enjoyed watching him. But last year showed us different.
I don't think he's at anywhere near his prime. That's come and gone, DeAndre, but I'm glad you feel that way. I mean, whatever makes the room more cohesive.
I love A.J. Green. I hope nothing but the best for him, but I do think he's out of his prime.
Yeah, his best years were given to Cincinnati, and we'll ever be grateful for that. But
tight ends, you got Max Williams, Max with 2 X's. You still going to name your kid Max with 2 X's?
I'm going to name my son Max with 3 X's. Just wait.
All right, and the last team we had to break down is San Francisco. The quarterback room, you got Jimmy Garoppolo. I can't even say his name now.
Garoppolo.
Trey Lance, Josh Rosen.
That poor Rosen kid, man.
He never had the true shot.
Nope.
Passed around after his first year, yeah.
Like a $2, you know what?
So, Garoppolo, right now they're saying it's his job. The offensive coordinator said on Lance, though, he's getting the point where he can correct players. Which that's a huge review from your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and to have that kind of confidence as a rookie. I mean, we saw it last year with Burrow and everything, but
I will say Shanahan has come out and said this is not a competition. Lance will play, but he's not going to start. You're not rooting for injuries, but I think it is only a matter of time before you see Garoppolo injured at some point.
Yeah, well, I mean, the last 2 seasons, Garoppolo's been injured. We saw way more of Nick Mullins than we wanted to see, and Travis beat hard.
Yep. So, like I said, I drafted Lance with, I think, my last pick of the draft. I definitely don't mind taking him and stashing him on the end of your bench.
Right, yeah.
He could be a league winner.
Eventually.
And I will say, one of his offensive linemen, Trent Williams, he said about him, you see him throw the ball and you see him run the ball, and you know that's a generational talent.
Okay.
When you got your lineman saying that about you,
You're a rookie.
definitely. And this is an experienced lineman. I think it's sooner rather than later before Lance takes this job.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs, Raheem Mostert, Trey Sermon, Wayne Gallman, Jeff Wilson. If you draft one, be ready to pick up all the rest.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it years past, especially the last 2 or 3 years, maybe in San Francisco. There's never a true RB1 there.
I think last year there was, but it's just they're
because
always
of
hurt.
Injuries, and then even then they weren't fresh. So it's really hard.
I do think where Mostert is going is a steal in drafts. He's going to win you some games early on.
Yeah, I think he's a great guy. Love our Purdue grads, but I think I'm staying away. Trey Sermon late, Gallman as a handcuff. I think eventually Mostert's going to be whittled out of there.
I think that this is the last year on his contract. I don't think he's going to be there next year.
Yeah, I don't think he's even going to get a lot of work either.
Wide receivers, you got Deebo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk, Mohamed Sanu, Richie James, Jalen Hurd. Ayuk's been growing a lot, but I will say you have not seen these two and Kittle on the field much together. It's going to be interesting to what this receiver room looks like with that, because you know Kittle's going to get his.
And we know Mohamed Sanu is a good PPR guy.
Yeah, Mohamed Sanu is a good veteran wide receiver guy now. I don't think he's going to be as much of an impact, but...
No, but...
We'll see. I'm probably avoiding these wide receivers, but I know a lot of people are high on Ayuk.
I mean, if you're tight on a bye week, Sanu's probably good to get you 10 points.
Potentially. We'll see how he plays in this offense first.
Yeah, he's played pretty well wherever he's gone, so...
And then the last position, we're not going to go past Kittle.
There's no reason to.
He was the 19th best tight end. He missed 6 games last year.
Yeah. I mean, he's
just
a
a
talent.
beast.
He's a talent. I mean, I would... At this point, I'd rather have George Kittle than Travis Kelce.
Redraft, I'm still taking Kelce, but in Dynasty, I'm leaning more towards Kittle just because of the age.
I'm still leaning towards Kittle. That's
Which,
we'll
once again,
it's like
it's hard to argue.
Heads or tails. Heads is Kittle. Heads is Kelce.
I think Kelsey's been more consistent, better overall.
But he's also had more consistent quarterback play.
I agree. I understand that. I'm probably taking Kelce in redraft, like I said, Kittle in Dynasty.
And go back and watch some film on North Dakota State. They love their tight ends up there too. Trey Lance.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much on Trey Lance from last year. I think he only played 1 game.
Yeah, he didn't play more than 1 game.
So, for the AFC West, who's your pick to win this division? This one's a tough division.
I think I might surprise a lot of people, but I think the Arizona Cardinals did enough to build their defense. They went out and got some big names. I believe T.J. Watt was signed.
Mm-hmm.
They answered a few...
J.J. Watt, not T.J.
Sorry, yeah, J.J. Watt. They went out and addressed a bunch of issues that needed fixed. And I mean, look at this offense. Chase Edmonds is a good running back. He's not a bum by any means. James Conner, he's had his days, probably his better days. Benjamin and Eno Smith, they're serviceable.
And actually,
these
Benjamin is getting a lot of hype in camp already now, too.
Yeah, and I mean, Max Williams, he played pretty well at the tight end position last year with splitting time with Dan Arnold. He's a big dude, and he's a big target.
My pick here is Seattle. I think it's hard to top these guys, but it wouldn't surprise me if 3 of these teams make the playoffs.
Really? Who do you think's left out?
Who do I think's left out?
Who does not get a wild card spot from this division?
That's the tough part. If I had to say, and it wouldn't surprise me no matter if anybody wins this division, I think right now the odd man out's Arizona.
All right, well,
because San Francisco had a good defense, and we saw what their offense can do.
Well, we know that offense wins games and defense wins championships, but the defense has to get you there. I mean, look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year.
I know.
They won the games, and Chiefs couldn't do anything in the Super Bowl.
Well, that's all we have for our NFC breakdown. We look to be back again next week around 7 to 7:30.
Yep.
Once again, follow us on our social medias. Twitter, FF Semi-Pros. YouTube, FF Semi-Pros. Facebook and Instagram, Fantasy Football Semi-Pros.
Hey, if you like our bobbleheads and if we should keep it, let us know.
We'll definitely look into trying to add some new stuff, rotate eventually.
Flair.
As we grow our collection.
Yeah, if you like the bobbleheads, I like the bobbleheads. Carson Palmer, Chad Johnson, TJ Hushmanzada. Was this Shane Graham?
Yep.
Yeah. If you like them, thumbs up. Let us know or tell us to get rid of them. We'll find something new.
And once again, we appreciate you guys' views. We appreciate your interactions. Be safe out there, and we'll see you again next week.
Take her easy. Oh, my back hurts. I think I'm old.